Yeah. Yeah. Wandering round, wonder why I'm sensitive to these sounds. Plant down and lotus in a tempted ground. Knowing if I fail to lift the veil, I'm hellbound. Journey through the fate of all the hate I found. Done laying out the laments for these lames, big clowns. We can still throw down pound for pound if you choose to drag my name through the mud with no bounds. Scars go deep, but the passion can shift. Trying to find a balance between anger and bliss. Searching for my purpose when success is a myth. I thought I knew the gist of the plot, but it came with a twist. Had it all mapped out, but none of the pieces fit. Abandonment issues got me doing the split. Realizing I didn't really need what I wish. Got sick of getting tricked into giving the devil a kiss. Welcome to the side of hell. They got me under a spell. Story to tell as soon as I break out of this shell. Welcome to the side of hell. They got me
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Portal to the Paranormal Thriller podcast. I hope everyone is doing really well. Tonight we have another great show with another great guest. We will be joined by paranormal investigator Miki York. We had him on the show when we first started going way back. So it's going to be really good to catch up with Miki, see what he's been doing since we last spoke. We'll do a bit of a refresher with him. As always, guys, if you've got any questions or anything you want to ask Miki, chuck them in the comments and we'll get them answered. But let's bring him on now then. Hey, Miki, how you doing?
Hello, how are you? All good, man? All good.
Good. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us and have a chat. Like I just said, the last time that you were on was when we first really started our podcast. So a lot has gone on since then. But just as a refresher, do you want to give everyone a bit of an insight of how you got into the paranormal, what you all started in this?
Probably how a lot of other people did, watching Most Wanted back in the day.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was the first sort of thing that was on TV. And I remember watching it when I was younger with my mum and dad thinking, wow, look at that. That looks well cool. So, yeah, I watched that for a few years and I thought maybe I could do that, get some friends together and just go out to a cemetery or something, see what happens. Local woods, you know. Went from there, really.
Cool. And when you first started out, what kind of things were you drawn to try out? Like with equipment, or were you just trying to use your own
To be honest with you, I wasn't the sort of person that when I was young I'd see like my nan at the end of the bed, or I never really saw spirits until I started doing this and opening up my mind. But going back to your question, it was just, to be fair, I got into the paranormal and I remember going on my first ghost hunt up in York with Richard Felix. And at that point, I was going on these different, they were like workshops, I'd say they were. And I was doing like pendulum work, table tipping, Ouija boards. So pretty much the event, you know, like the paranormal event teams, them sort of things. So yeah, that's how I started. I didn't use equipment at the time. So it was really just like the basics, dowsing rods, them sort of things.
And going further into it now, you're quite experienced in the field. You know, what kind of things do you use now, like techniques-wise? Do you use like the Estes method, or do you use technology? What are your thoughts on technology to start with?
I'm definitely a gadget man. All the flashy lights, the noises, all that shizzle, you know. I do like equipment, but then over the years using it, you come to figure out how they work, why they work, and a lot of it I don't use anymore, to be fair, because you find out it's flawed in many ways. A bit like the SLS camera. Yeah. You know, you can walk around. I've got a portable one, and I also had one of the original ones that you'd stick on your laptop. But the portable one, you'd walk around, and because it's trying to so desperately map something, it's just like giving you figures everywhere, and it's like no, it's not. It's like giving you false readings. So I don't really use that anymore. But I do like it if it's in one place. You know, if it's on a locked off corridor or something, it's not moving. There's nothing that can be like seen as a person, like a a curtain, because obviously it picks up the different depths of the curtain in the background, any tables, door frames. As long as there's none of that in it, then yeah, I'm quite happy to use that.
Cool.
But,
So what would you say is your go-to equipment to use then, if you was to pick something for an investigation?
it's got to be a spirit box. At one point, I think I had like 15 spirit boxes. I had all the ITC spirit boxes, loads of different hacked spirit boxes, you know. So,
Hey, Dan.
so yeah, lots of different spirit boxes. I think, you know, they all work differently. Some have radio bleeds, some don't. Some need a bit longer on the station to try and get the message, but yeah, definitely a spirit box.
Brilliant. And with the locations that you do, you know, each locations have different history. Some good, some like quite, we say evil, like not evil, but some sad stories, shall we say. Does that change the way you go into an investigation? So if you know that you're dealing with someone that you've been told by history that it's something quite a strong presence that could be there, does that alter the way you do things and the way you go into a location?
To be honest, I don't really research a location. Obviously, if it's a famous one, you know the stories, you may have seen it on TV, you may have friends that have been there, or you just know the history in general. And if I do, then I obviously aim my investigation towards some of that, because obviously you can maybe possibly get some communication with said spirit or whoever's supposed to be there. But normally I would just probably investigate exactly the same in pretty much every location I go to.
And
So,
you said from doing this, it's opened you up, you know, to seeing more with the naked eye. Do you feel, you know, with your investigations that you've got to protect yourself a little bit more because of, you know, you've opened that mind up and like the third eye that people would call it? Do you feel that you've got to do things to protect yourself before going on an investigation?
I would say initially, yes. I remember the first time I went to the ancient Ramin, and I was pretty scared, to be fair. I was like, oh, I have to get all this protection because there's demons here and they're gonna come and get me. But I don't bother anymore, to be fair. I never protect myself. I have had an attachment in the past that was with me for 3 months. That was a very dark time in my life, and then suddenly something happened and it just vanished. So, and I do put it down to the location. It was Delapre Abbey in Northampton. So,
and how did you deal with that sort of attachment then? So you said it was a very dark time. First, what kind of things were you noticing that was happening?
It was pretty much everything, really. I didn't like anybody. I didn't want to be around my family, like my wife, my kids. I hated work. I was depressed. I had such bad luck. I had an accident, nearly chopped my thumb off. It was not a nice place. I just didn't. At the time, it's hard to say, because when I was feeling it, I knew something was there. You know, something was possibly dark, but I didn't do anything to get rid of it. If that makes sense, it was sort of, it was nice, not nice to have, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. I let it happen, basically. I didn't do anything to get rid of it when I could have done, because I knew it was there, but I didn't do anything to help myself, really.
So it was just one of those things. One day it just sort of released itself from you.
Yeah, everything just changed. My luck changed. I felt happy again. I was happy in my day-to-day life, and yeah, I can't explain even to this day. And that's like 10 years ago. That was.
And going back, you know, having that sort of experience again, did it deter you away from doing the investigation? Because you've carried on. So what made you feel that you could still go forward with doing the investigation, with dealing with something that changed your personality in that dramatic way?
I don't know. I just wanted to keep doing it because it's like an addiction, really. And I think I wouldn't say I'm the happiest person as a general day to day. You know, like happy people. I do like a moan. I do like the negative side, possibly. And I think every location I go on at this time anyway, I was taking little bits of negativity from that location, and it was building up on me after the attachment. So
Right.
it's weird. I sort of encouraged it, but I didn't, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. It's weird. Like I say, I think it's a bit like an addiction, to be fair.
Well, it is. It is. People run away from the darkness. We run into it to see what
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
find.
yeah.
But with that sort of attachment, did you ever step back and think, was this something? And I don't use this frequently, but a lot of people would say, was it something demonic that was attached to you? What is your thoughts on what was around you at that for those 3 months?
I don't think it was demonic. I think it was just a very negative spirit, and he thought or she thought that they could affect me. And obviously, if that's what they want to do, they're going to try it. And I think it was getting what it needed from me, basically. So I just let it happen, to be fair.
And so you just rode the wave with it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And on that note, we're talking about demonic entities. One thing that I've realised the more I've got into the paranormal field, when you're watching like the big YouTubers and watching stuff on TV, they're very quick to say if something flies off in a fast way or something feels negative, they're very quick to say it's something demonic. Your thoughts on demonic entities, are they as real as the TVs make them, or do you think it's just very rare to come across something like that?
I personally think it's very rare. I mean, Zach thinks everything's a demon, doesn't he? So it's quite difficult sometimes. But no, I don't think I've personally had any interaction with a demon. I know someone that possibly has from a capture that they had in a location in London. But apart from that, I've never known anybody or seen anybody that's not on telly anyway, that's had experiences with a demon. So I'm not saying they're not real, but no, I don't. I think it's just like in life, you get bad people, negative people, and if you believe that's what happens, you pass over, and you continue that sort of the attitude in spirit. So I think it's just a negative person.
Just negative.
Really.
And with the TV, do you think that they paint a bad image of the paranormal field with the way they do things? What's your thoughts when you think about the TV world of the paranormal to what we do?
No, I love watching it. I love watching TV shows. They've got to do a job.
Yeah.
I know how TV works. I've been on telly. Very short time, but I was on there. I know how it works. They have ratings to get. The more scary, the better. The more activity, the better. So they are going to ham it up. But no, I've got no problem. Like they say, it's for entertainment purposes. If, say, someone that we know was doing normal investigations and we managed to get a TV show from it, and they said, "Oh, you got to do this, you got to fake this," then it wouldn't be the same. So I've got no problem with TV people. What they do, they're doing a job. End of the day, we do it because we love to do it. It's a passion. So I think you have to look at it for two different perspectives, really.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying. And with regards to yourself, then, so you've gone from watching, Most Haunted, doing your own investigation. What if you say like your top investigation that you've done today? Where has it been? Because I know you've done investigations across the UK, but also in Ireland as well. So if we start off with the UK, where's been your best investigation that you've done, and what kind of things did you capture?
It was quite recent, I think last year. My local asylum, St Crispin's, it's been around since like 1890 something. It's now closed down now, obviously, like most of them are, all the good ones. And there was a few of us. Also with us was Mark and Rich from West London Paranormal. And Rich is very much into the occult. He's been doing it for 20 years. And he did a ritual. I'm not going to say what he did, but It was very intense. Anyway, let's just say that. We were underground in one of the cellars at the time, and we did this ritual, and we went upstairs, and we found a pigeon at the top of the stairs. Like, it was as if a pigeon had been taken off a tree and just put on the floor. Like, there was no signs of it was dead, but how it died, we have no idea. There was no signs of blood, feathers, nothing. It's just someone put it on the floor, and there you go. And we thought, well, that's a bit weird. And we just we were looking at that. There's about, I don't know, 8 of us, and then suddenly a massive rock came down the stairs at the end of the corridor. Now there's no one else on the site. There's only us. And it's like, oh, what was that? How did that happen? And it was just like the ritual had stirred something up. Now, I'm not saying it's a demon. They were like demonic stuff that was summoned, but if it was demonic activity, I don't know. And then we had Mark. We were on the staircase. We were like staggered up this massive stone staircase, and we were asking things to happen. And Mark had a piece of like plasterboard about this big, came and smashed him in the face. Now, he was at the top of the stairs. He was like at the very top, and everyone else was staggered down. There's no way that we couldn't have thrown it to get to that angle, because it came straight, and he was so much higher than everybody else. Plus the people that we were with, we were trusting them, obviously, because we've known them for years. And yeah, it was just, and it was caught on camera. It's just like, wow. And then we were getting voices and more bangs, and it's just like, wow. So that ritual seemed to stir up some stuff, So that was a good one.
Brilliant. And what about in Ireland? Because you've done a few places in Ireland, is that right?
Yeah, we've been to the famous Hellfire Club, where Satan himself is supposed to have been.
Yeah.
That's the scariest place I've ever been in my life.
And did you pick up anything or find anything whilst you were there?
We had the first time we were there. There was just me and Mark again from West London. We went over to Ireland for a week, and we were just the 2 of us inside. We were getting voices, growls, things like that. Nothing major, to be fair. Like no ghosts caught on camera or anything like that. It's mainly audio, really. And we went back there again in February just gone, and we had a lot coming out on equipment, like on Spirit Box, voice recorder, Alice Box, everything that seemed to correspond with what was happening in the room. Like we were in the front of the building, and you could see, I don't know if you know the Hellfire Club, or what it looks like. So it's just a big stone building with doors and windows missing, and you could see like the lights of Dublin in the distance. So you got the window frame with the window there, and I saw a hand shadow come out like this from the solid center of the brickwork, and then about 20 seconds later on Alice Box it said hand, and it's like, wow, I've just seen that. And then it come out shadow hand, and it was a shadow hand coming out, and it's like, wow. And we had stuff from the Spirit Box answering questions that we were like relevant answers to what we were actually asking at the time. So it was like that something was in the room with us. So it's different activity than we got the first time. But again, Rich did a ritual this time because he came with us in February. So he did another ritual and was summoning, and it seemed to work. So yeah.
So brilliant. It sounds like you've had some great responses from doing the ritual side of things, but there's so many different types of, we're talking about audio evidence, visual evidence. With audio, what's important? Because people say if you don't clean up like your EVP recorders, it can pick up things that make it sound like it's something paranormal. When you go in and using your EVP recorders, do you always ensure that you clear any data so it's always freshly used, or do you believe that it can make a false reading of something paranormal if you don't clear the data on there?
What, like the files, you mean?
Yeah.
I never clear my files. I've got voice recorders that have got like 30, 40, 50 files already on there. You know, if it's going to record, it's going to record. I don't see the need to wipe everything and start afresh. Now, you could say for video evidence wise, you could clear it and say, look, this is file 1. I'm not playing back something I've made at home, because some people have been known to do that.
Okay.
So it's like, there's no files on this. This is my first recording, and there you go. And if they get something and they play it back, obviously for the camera, then they can say, look, this is only 1 file and I've just recorded that, and there you go. So there is that side to it, which I agree with. It can validate there's only 1 file there, but for any other reason, no, I wouldn't bother.
No.
Personally, nah.
And when we're thinking about visual evidence, you know, using the cameras, you know, we pick up a lot of dust particles.
Yeah.
But people assume that they're orbs. You know, what's your thoughts on orbs? How can you determine if it's an actual orb or if it's a dust particle, in your opinion?
It depends what camera you're using. If you're filming on a phone and you've got a light flash on, then it's the light reflection of the dust particles because of whereabouts the light is. Because back in the day when I first started, I was talking to someone who was into photography, who used to go on ghost hunts, and he'd take like photos with a DSLR camera.
Yeah.
And I was saying to him, how do you get like no orbs when you take flash? And he explained to me, because of the distance of the flash from the actual lens of the camera makes a big difference. So but yeah, you do pick up orbs sometimes, quite often, or the orbs, like the ghost orbs.
Yeah. And in your opinion, what would you say would you call an actual orb? How is there a certain pattern, the way it shows itself? How would you say that an orb, in your opinion, would be an actual orb, not anything else like a fly or dust particle?
I think the way it floats on the screen, the shape of it. Sometimes you get like feather sized light anomalies, and they're not like dust particles because it's not that shape, you know. I have had a few that are quite interesting. I thought, I'll keep that in my video, or I'll highlight that because it's interesting. It's not normal. Obviously, you get the little round dots that go flying around, or you get a fly that you can clearly see as a fly because it's got wings and it moves in a certain pattern. But yeah, there is the odd one. I think definitely the shape of it, and because sometimes they're quite slow, and they like come into screen and stop, and then they move slowly and they shoot off. I mean, well, who knows what that is? I don't really know.
I think that's the thing, that we don't know everything, you know, as much as we want to say that we do, but you know, I think there's so many things that we haven't uncovered yet that we don't know about. It's just keep going and keep doing what we're doing. With that said, you know, with these haunted locations, or, you know, with spirits that are still here, do you think they're here because they don't know how to pass on? You know, in your opinion, why do you think there's so many spirits in these locations still, or they still come through? You know, are they stuck? Is it the saying that they got unfinished business? What do you think they're still doing here?
I think it depends on the occasion that you're there. Like some famous places, there could be an event happening there. Say like, I don't know, the Queen died, and past queens or kings return, because sometimes they're seen, aren't they? And these stately homes like Buckingham Palace, Tower London, they could just be in visitation because there's a big major event happening. It could be that. I mean, I was a couple of years ago, was it last year? I was writing an article for the Daily Star. That's it. And they said about when Prince Philip died. That's it. They said, do I think that Prince Philip will be at his own funeral, like with the Queen? And I said, I'm sure at some point, if he's still around, the spirit of Prince Philip will come back and check on his wife of so many years, just to see how she is. And then probably after the funeral, he'll see that she's fine, and then he'll pass over or go wherever they go, you know, and then only probably come back if she was in trouble, or, you know.
So do you feel that spirits can come and go as they please then? So it's not that they're actually stuck here. They just choose what they want to do?
I think some are stuck, like ones that have died suddenly a horrible death and they weren't expecting it. They could be stuck not knowing that they're dead even. But I do think mainly that spirits come and go when they choose. I hope so, because when I die, I want to do that. I want to go visit places and go on holiday in the spirit world, you know.
Yeah, just go where you want to, just with a click.
That'd be well cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
That's so. I hope that's the case anyway.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing. I've said it before. We're not going to know exactly what's on the other side until we get there ourselves, and
exactly,
you know, that's a new chapter. But you know, people saying like residual energies and things like that. You know, that they're just playing the same thing over and over again because they're stuck in that pattern. So, do you believe that that could be a case? And do you think that there's a way that we can break them away from that if we try to communicate with them, or do you think it's just something that they replay, and there's nothing we can do to change that?
I think it's just a recording in time, and that's it. An event that's happened. I'll give an example. I was at a show of Adrian Perkins, a ghost detective. He's an author. He's been ghost hunting for like 50 years or whatever. And he told a story once, one of his shows. He said this man was driving along and he had a terrible car crash. Yeah. And obviously come out the car through the window, whatever. Paramedics were there trying to save him, and he died. Yeah, they brought him back to life. He went on to, you know, do his normal job, family, etc. And then a few years later, he was driving back down the same road where he had this accident, but he was coming the other direction, and he saw himself and the car there. He saw the spirit of himself.
Wow,
that gives me goosebumps every time I say it.
Yeah,
because I think when tragedy happens, your energy, obviously it's a horrible feeling, your energy is imprinted on that surface. And that's basically what a recording in time, I believe, is anyway. A major energetic event has happened and you imprint on that wherever you are. You know, some things are obviously more easy to imprint on, like limestone, places near water, etc., where it's more energy, like natural grounding energy. But yeah, I don't think you could interrupt that. It's just how it is. I mean, you see reports of, like in York, I think there was there's a place in York, I can't remember what it's called now. The Treasure Holt, is it?
Yeah.
I think. There was workers down there under, like, in part of the cellar or whatever, and they were doing like structural work, and they saw like Roman soldiers walking through and out into the wall, but they were only stomach height on the floor. And obviously no one believed that, but there was a historian there and they spoke about it. I said, yeah, the original Roman road was that low underneath it, that would have been the height where their legs had been, so their sort of waist area was level with the new ground floor. So, you know,
that's amazing.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah, that is amazing. And with the spirits doing these sort of like when people experience an apparition or the spirits communicate with us through the spirit box or whatever device, is that because of the energy that we're building, do you think? Or is it because they can just do it at any time? Because I was wondering, do you know when you're getting a response and then suddenly the response just completely dies out completely, like it disappears? Yeah. Do you think that they're using their energy to the point that they've got to disappear and then rebuild themselves back up to be able to communicate again?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, well, I think sometimes they just want to give us a message. Like, we're asking all these questions, we're begging them to do things. Some do, some don't. But yeah, I think it takes a lot out of them. I mean, I presume anyway. Like I said, we don't know yet till we're there. But
until we're there, we can assume.
Exactly, yeah. But there's things we can do. They drain our batteries on our cameras, etc. They take the heat out of the cold and create hot and cold spots to use as energy. You know, people use electricity, EM pumps, all that to try and help them. But like I say, I do think that there's always that time during the night, isn't it, where it just goes flat and dead, and it's like, oh well, You know, they've run out of energy. They're gone to bed now. So
And,
yeah,
and
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of the investigations that we carry out is we do it at night, and a lot of people refer to the witching hour. Do you
Yeah.
believe that there's a certain point in the night or in the day where activity is higher, or do you think activity will be the same any part of the day, depending on what the spirit wants to do?
I don't really believe in the witching hour. To be fair, I don't. I've never experienced anything at 3 o'clock apart from nothing really.
Hmm.
It's normally flat by then. But no, I think you get a certain amount of time at that location. Um, that once that time is up, doesn't matter what time it is. It's you could have amazing. I've had amazing stuff in the daytime. I go back at night and it's flat. So yeah, I think it's if the spirits are still there. I think once you take their energy away and they've used it all up, you're not going to get nothing anyway.
And do you think part of it is your intent when you go into locations? Like if you go in there like how can I say? If you're going in there like a big ballsy person, trying to be that alpha male, shall we say, for example, that it turns the spirits away. They don't want to communicate. Do you think that there's a way that we need to approach these locations and spirits for them to communicate with us?
Very much so. If you went up to someone in the street and started shouting at them and being aggressive, they're not going to talk to you. They're going to go
Definitely.
away. So I think they do know our intent. I also think that spirits know what the future holds. I very much believe in that. What they know what can happen in the coming months, years. So I really do believe that they know what we're there for, why we're there, what intent we have if we get some sort of communication. So yeah, I think the best way to be is be honest with them, be nice, and go from there. Really.
And just on that, following on from that, so you've been nice, you've been honest about what your intent is, but then you feel that it's an energy that's being forceful and being quite, like, shall we say, a dominant energy that's
Yeah.
trying to, a better word, bully you in a way.
Yeah.
Would that change your thought? Would you push back then and be more assertive to that energy to push them back, or would you still be nice to try and find out why they're being the way they are?
Oh no, I'd go full force. Yeah, yeah. You want to mess with me? That's it. I've been nice. We're not going to play ball now. And oh yeah, I think so. You give what they give back. You know, if they're quite often it's like they try and do stuff to women. They touch women, or they swear on equipment, and they're really aggressive. And it's like no, you want to play that game. We can play that. Yeah, I think once they go past that normal level, I think yeah, why not? Definitely.
No, and you're saying about like women being a target at times to certain
Yeah, quite often.
spirits. Would you say that these are the kind of spirits that would have been the same in the living life as well? Then that they were, like you said, they've just passed over and they're doing the same thing.
Yes, I'll give an example. In the Tudor world in Stratford upon Avon,
Yeah, I know.
there's supposed to be a spirit of John, isn't it? That likes blonde women and weak men, apparently. And he was like convicted of being a rapist or something when he was alive. So they actually know. I think John Davis was his name. So they know the history of this man in like as a person, a real person, and it seems to have carried on into the spirit world as well. So when you talk about him, when you're on a location, it's always the women that's affected. Like you say, it does seem to carry on from the living, I believe, definitely.
And with those sort of experiences, like if it's one of those energies, will you cut your investigation off short to avoid any like further attachments where you've experienced it before? Are you more cautious about what you're doing now? To
No.
you just still
No, I'm in it, 100%. I'm not stopping or trying to. End of the day, I'm there to get activity, to capture activity. That's all I'm there. However I do it, it, it's It's a free for all, really. Yeah, I've got no issues with anything bad, anything good.
You're
Whatever,
just going to go
whatever,
straight and
what,
see what happens.
exactly, whatever I can do. I don't see the point in going there protected, so you only get really nice spirits, because like normal people, we're not always nice. Some people are horrible. There might be lots of horrible spirits. You
Yeah.
know, you're there to communicate. I don't see the point in only getting like half of the activity. Really, I don't see the point in that.
No, I understand. I think a lot of people are scared by it, and they sort of want to ensure that they protect themselves. And do you believe in protecting chants and things that keep you grounded? Do you think they actually work, or do you think it actually blocks you off from communicating with spirits?
I think it stops you communicating with bad spirits, but like I said, I don't see the point in going to these haunted locations, and I just don't see the point in protecting yourself. Maybe when you get home and you finish, yeah, that's fair enough. But beforehand, nah, really don't. I really do not see the point in that. I think those people. To be fair, I think those people are more spiritual. Like they go to spiritual churches. They're possibly mediums or they're sensitives. I mean, it's all about personal choice, really. But I don't know. It's like driving a car with only 3 wheels. You ain't getting far, are you? So,
No.
I want my 4th wheel.
And with that, with family and friends, they see that you do the investigation, especially when you think back of the attachment and the way it changed you.
Yeah.
Were your family like a bit concerned about you continuing in the paranormal field? Having faced that experience and the way it changed your personality, to, like you said earlier, you didn't want to know anyone, you were depressed. Did that alter them, like saying, Miki, you need to stop doing this, or you need to be more careful? How did they? Because they must have gone through that process with you over those few months.
It was a tough time. I don't think personally at the time I really knew what it was. So I just think my family thought I was being a knob, really, and going through some weird event in my life. I think it's only since it cleared, and I've thought about it, and I've spoke to people that were at the location as well on that night, that they had similar reactions after that night as well. And then I put 2 and 2 together, and then started doing research. And I mean, it might not have been attachment, but what I was going through, I believe it was, from what I know. So, but yeah, they didn't say to me like you should stop doing this, because I don't think they really knew what it was. To be fair.
No. And it has changed. The paranormal field has opened up so much more now, hasn't it? A lot more people are into the paranormal and want to know more. For yourself, going through the process from a beginner to now, for a new investigator, what kind of advice, if they were to ask you, Miki, what advice would you give me to get into the paranormal? What advice would you give them?
I would tell them not to be fooled. Don't believe everything you see. Try and find out the natural cause for every single piece of activity you get. And if you can't find a reason for it, a natural reason, then it could possibly be paranormal. It could be a spirit. But yeah, don't be an idiot and think everything's a ghost. It's not like the TV world, because a lot of people see it on TV, like I did, and I thought, oh wow, I can do that, and it's not the same. It's when you stand in these cold places at night time, and you're on with a couple of mates, and it's freezing cold. You can't feel your hands or your feet, and you're getting no activity, and you're there for a couple more hours. It's not fun,
It is. You got to be so careful what you're seeing on TV, because I know with speaking to people from the TV world, that they can only show so much. They don't show the full investigation, because what they aim to do is show the pieces that they believe that they've picked up that is paranormal. But we know from going to locations, you could be there for up to 6 hours and you get very, very small amount of evidence, or sometimes even nothing. But do you think sometimes that when we think we've picked up evidence, do you think it's just your mind playing games with you? Because you are in a cold location, you've been standing around for hours, so your body's starting to wind down and getting tired. Do you think that your mind can play tricks on you that makes you think that there is something?
I think if you're tired, definitely. I think tiredness can be a major factor on what you see or what you hear. But for me, like, I use equipment, so I've recorded it so I can watch it back when I'm not tired, and I think, oh yeah, that was good. I caught that. That said this,
Yeah.
It wasn't my imagination. So yeah, I do think it can play a part in it, but I think normally when you're tired, yeah, I mean, I get affected quite a lot through feelings like sickness, mainly if it's a location where people have suffered. Quite often I get sick, and that affects me that way. Now I can't prove that, but it's just how I feel at the time. It may not be, it may be other things that can cause that, so, but I just don't know it.
It's like Carlos just said, paranormal is like playing slots. There's time I said on my show, you may get no evidence or a lot or a little. It is like a game, isn't it? It is. Especially when it's like, I always say, it's like going fishing. You cast out the rod and you're waiting for that bite. And sometimes the fish comes in, it's really, really small. And it's a bit like the paranormal. It's such a small bite. And it's just like, you need to accept it for what it's for. You don't necessarily going to get anything, or you might get something. It just depends on the night. And
yeah, I do think that sometimes it's good to humble yourself to get nothing on an investigation.
Yeah,
I think people can get carried away with, like, especially people who do filming on YouTube and that, like myself, and we just think, oh yes, this is well good. Look at this demon, rah, rah, rah. And sometimes you think, calm down, it's not that good, and you just need to, just get nothing one night. And it's okay, yeah, all right then, we'll start again another time. But that's the thing, though. People have asked me in the past, like, if you don't get nothing, why do you keep going? Why do you keep going out there when you're cold and you're tired throughout the night? It's because the hope. It's the hope that next time it's going to be amazing. The hope you're going to get something. You're going to get that one piece of evidence, and it's like, oh my God, That's that is exactly what we're waiting for. And no matter how many times we get knocked back, we get no evidence at all, we go again the next week because we want that bit of evidence.
Do you know, I'll be happy once I get evidence with a chair lifting up in the air and that's me done. I'll be happy. I'll be like, look, I caught it. That's it. I'm done now. But no, you are right. And talking about other parts of the paranormal, we were talking about when spirits pass over. That they potentially move on. Do you believe that there is an afterlife where they can move on and live on somewhere else? Do you believe in things like reincarnation? There's a lot of different theories and different beliefs there. What's your thoughts on all that?
Isn't reincarnation a spiritual thing, like a religious thing?
I think
is that part of
that the spirits pass on and they choose to be reincarnated into something else?
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that generally works, or do you think that's just something religious based that we're not too sure on?
If I got a choice, I'm not coming back as a dog or anything like that. Like, I want to be Miki, and that's it. I ain't being no one else. Because imagine that. Imagine you die, you pass over, you go through your reflection period, and it's like, right, Miki, you can go back now. You can go back to the world, the living world, or you can remain in spirit. But if you go back to a living world, you're gonna come out in someone else. Like, and imagine that, wiping your memory. I don't know. I don't think I'd like that. But there is, what's that thing where people past life regression, isn't it? Where they start remembering their past lives, and you're Brian in this life, but before you were David, and you remember bits of David's life, and it's like, oh my God, I used to live there. How I know that, I don't know, but no, I wouldn't want that. No, not for me.
Well, So what would it be just a case that you pass on and you just go wherever you want to go at any time and just have a fun on the other side?
I want to jolly up, yeah. I want to go visit all the places in the world. I want to go back to this living world and scare the people that annoyed me. I want to go and scare the shit out of them. You know, that's what I want to do. That'll be fun.
Have a real good time.
Yeah, go and see my relatives and my friends that I miss because obviously I'm not with them anymore, and check that they're okay. You know, I'd like to do that. I'd like to think that is possible, and I'm keeping that in my head that is what happens, I think.
And with upcoming, things that you've got going on, have you got any upcoming investigations that you're going to be doing, or where you're going to be doing them at all?
I have. I am heading down south this Friday, actually. I am going filming with Entering the Unknown. We've got a couple of locations down there this weekend, so that should be good.
Any locations that you can name, or?
I don't know them, to be fair.
Oh, you don't know?
No. I'm going down there to meet them, and they're going to take me to locations, so that's all good.
You know whereabouts south that you're going to be heading?
Southampton, I think.
Oh, our neck of the woods then. So you'll be down here where we are.
Is that where you are?
Yeah, we're in Southampton, yeah. So,
small world.
But no doubt when we get talking after you've done it, we'll most probably know the locations. And I'll tell you what, if you're ever down here again, there's a few locations that we would love to take you on. So if you want to meet up and do a night out with us, we've got a few that we would, I think, depending on where you're going to go this time, Southampton, there's so many. I can name a number of locations, but until you get there, so that's great. So you're going to be doing that. Anything else that you got coming up?
I've got a couple of events in September with Paracon. I'm going with. I'm going in August. I think we are camping out in some horrible woods with West London Paranormal. So cool. Yeah, I'm slowly building up my calendar.
That'll be wicked. And for you, is there a location? If money wasn't an object and you could go anywhere to investigate, is there a particular location that you would want to go to?
Probably Alcatraz. To be fair.
Yeah, that would be an amazing one to be able to investigate.
Yeah, just the fact you're on that island and there's no one else there because they can't get there. Plus it's a prison. I've never done a prison. I've always wanted to do a prison. Never done a prison. Always been priced out of prisons. So I'm hoping to go on maybe an event at some point this year and try and get a place on the prison because they're so expensive to hire these places. And it's like ridiculous.
Yeah, some of them are quite pricey.
Very much so.
The prison. We did Shepton Mallet, and that was quite a cool location to do. Prisons. I would like one of those abandoned asylum hospitals to do. Do you know the ones you see in America? They just look amazing. I would love to do something like that. But with yourself as well, you also have a podcast that you do that's called Dads, Lads and Kebabs.
Yeah.
And do you want to tell everyone what that's about? Like what your show's about?
It's me and my mate Niall, who I've known for like 15 years, and basically every week we film it and we talk shit. Two mates talking shit, and it's just whatever we want to talk about. There's nothing censored, all uncensored, nothing off limits. Current topics. We started off. We're on like episode 68 now, I think. So just over 2 years, and we've gone from our childhood all the way up to the weird stuff that we do with marriages and divorces and buying houses and kids and TV shows, paranormal stuff, things you see on the news. It's like going down the pub without the pub and chatting to your mate, basically, and recording it. So, I love it. It's so nice and refreshing just to talk rubbish for an hour with your mate.
It's very different. I watched a few on the lead up to the event, because I saw it on your profile and I was like, well, that's not paranormal as such. So I was watching stuff.
No.
And
It's not.
You literally talk about whatever comes up. It's just like,
Yeah, some of it's a bit rude.
I think one of the bits where you opened up about talking about coffee that you were able to find that you couldn't find for ages, and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a laid back
Random.
and random fun, isn't it? That you do. And where can people find that? I know that you're on YouTube with that, aren't you?
Yeah, we're on YouTube, obviously the filmed episodes, and then we are on all the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, all them, Amazon Music, every single podcast platform we're on. So yeah, if you want to go have a laugh at some two idiots, then we'll welcome you along. Join the family.
It is. It's definitely one to go and watch. It's definitely, as the title says, Dads, Lads, and Kebabs. It's just, it's a real fun show to watch. And if you just want to chill out and just listen to, because a lot of it is really random. It's just random stuff that, I think you come up with stuff, and then Neil's like, well, that's different, and it's quite funny. It's like you can see it's not scripted or anything. It's just pure laughter, and it's just like wherever the, because you also have friends come on as well sometimes, don't you? Like different guests as well.
Yeah, we've had guests on. Yeah. We started. I think it was Niall's idea to start it off. He contacted me to do the podcast. I thought, all right then, I'll set it all up, and he just wanted to, I think, get a male's perspective of everything in life, because a lot of the time men aren't listened to, and men are told to man up and grow up, and not be so weak. But obviously men's mental health is massive at the moment, as it has been for a couple of years. And I think a lot of men, I don't talk about my problems. I had a really bad 6 months last year. At the beginning, the first 6 months, I don't know. It was not a good time for me. I didn't really talk about it, and I should have done. And it wasn't paranormal related. But talking about it on the podcast, it slowly got me out of it. And, it's good to talk, especially men. I'm sticking up for the men on this. Men do need to talk more. And it's okay not to be okay, as they say. So just need to chat. Have a coffee with your mate. Give him a ring. So...
I really do, agree with what you're saying there. I think, mental health is a big issue all round, but men, I don't know why, but men find it very hard to open up, and it just builds and builds to, so I think, if that's the aim that you have for the show, is to encourage people.
Oh yeah, definitely. Every episode.
Everyone needs to take on, and again, it's not serious, it's a laugh, and it just relaxes, and but I think that is really true, because mental health is a big issue, and not saying anything, women suffer as well, but men seem men seem to suffer, but it's more hidden in the background that people don't know. And the unfortunate thing is, it does lead to some men not dealing it in the right way. And so if we, if that's going to help, all for it, go for it. It's a great thing to do. And it is important. It's okay not to be okay, and it's okay for men to cry as well, because we're going off the paranormal, but one thing I would say, a lot of people, and I've been a victim of this myself, you think, if I cry, especially being married, having kids, you think, do you know what, I'm showing weakness, but actually it isn't. It's showing that you're human and you need help. Everyone needs help, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Very much so.
So I think that's a great show that you're doing, and that if that's the aim of it, absolutely brilliant. And I hope more people will get involved and watch you guys. And like I said, it's just a funny show. Miki, 1 minute he's coming in like, and then next minute it's, and I like Noel, because he seems more of a reserved person at time. He just it is a cool show. So no, definitely. And what about for yourself? We're going back to the paranormal. Do you do a podcast dedicated to the paranormal as well?
No, not anymore. I used to. No, not anymore.
Is there any reason for that, or you just decided to go a different direction with it?
It's with people I don't associate with anymore. So.
Oh, okay. So, well, maybe you should start one on your own, because I know you did a
I'd like
reaction,
to.
didn't you? You did one where you were reacting on like a certain shade. So, and I thought that was quite good as well. Yeah,
What
giving your
the new Ghost Adventures episode?
I think that was the one. Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite. I thought our new episode's out. Not been out for a year. I was make a video about it. Try to commentate on the activity they're getting. So yeah.
No, it's absolutely brilliant. But I think just to end off, where can everyone find your stuff, Miki, if they wanted to check out, again, your podcast, your paranormal stuff? Where's all your stuff that they can find you?
So my podcast, Dads Lads Kebabs, on basically any platform. Just search for it, you'll find it. My personal paranormal stuff, Mickey York on YouTube, the real Mickey York on Instagram and on Twitter, and Mickey York Ghost Hunter on Facebook. And I think there's a new Roku channel, Ghost Planet TV or something, on the Roku network. Network, that's it. Yeah, that was released tonight. I think at 6 o'clock. I've got a channel on there, Mickey York Ghost Hunter, so I've got episodes on there. I've not seen it yet. I need to get a Roku box. so
you're on there.
I haven't got one yet. So yeah, that's going to be on there as well. So
that's absolutely brilliant. So you're going to be on that platform as well then, and that's showing your investigations that you're doing then.
Yes, yeah. Basically the ones from YouTube, but on the bigger screen.
Absolutely brilliant. So that's fantastic. Brilliant. Well, I just want to thank you again for being part of the show tonight. It's been great to catch up with you, find out what's been going on, and and like Mickey said, definitely go and check out his podcast. It is a laugh, and if you just want something relaxed and it not scripted, his podcast is the one to go and check out. It'll be great to have everyone involved, especially for the men. If you're struggling and just watch the show and even make a comment, because I'm sure Mickey will reach out and talk. It is a great show to be part of. But
they can come on the show if they've got something to talk about. Gladly have anybody on the show.
There you go. So it's an open invitation then. So definitely, definitely do it. But again, I just want to thank you for coming on. I'll let you get on with your evening. It's been great.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome coming on the show. Time's flown, hasn't it? It's like 58 minutes. It's like, wow. I went quick.
Once you get into the swing of it and everything, it just flies by, doesn't it? And, what I don't like doing is going overboard and then boring everyone, So you got to find that, grace point. But it's been great to catch up with you, and it'll be great to catch up with you after you do your investigations down south, see where you went.
Yeah. We can have a chat. Yeah.
And then we can work out about where you can come with us, and then we can do some stuff with you at other locations that you may not have done. But for now, I'll let you go, Mickey. Again, thank you for coming on. It's been great, and we'll catch up with you real soon.
Cheers.
Thanks,
see you in a bit, everybody. See you later.
Bye. What another great show. Mickey has done loads. We'll be definitely looking forward to getting an update from him, especially where we now know that he's going to be doing some investigations down here. And what we will do is hopefully get him on an investigation with ourselves. Just wanted to mention a few things before I go. With Portal to the Paranormal, our next investigation will be at Brownlands Theatre in July. I think it's the 8th of July. So if anyone wants to join us on the investigation, go and head to our website and check out that investigation. We do have a number of other investigations throughout the rest of the year. One that we're excited about, we are doing our first junior investigation, where we're getting juniors to join us on an investigation for a workshop. So parents, if you want something to do during the 6 weeks holiday, check that out on our website. Is www.portaltotheparanormal.co.uk. And for the junior investigation, we will be at the Murchison Hall, and I think that's in Hornding in Portsmouth. So definitely get booked on. We would love to. The purpose on the junior one is to give them an introduction into the paranormal and how things have done. You know, so we're going to do a workshop with them, talk about equipment, talk about different techniques that they can use. And then afterwards, we're going to do a mini investigation where we go low lighting investigation, where we'll go around the location and they can do a bit of spirit box, use some cat balls. So really good introduction for the juniors. And at the end of it, they will be presented with a certificate of completion of that investigation and workshop. If you do have any questions about any of our investigations or events that we got planned, please do reach out with us through Facebook or on our website, and then one of us will answer back to you. We will be back soon with another episode of Portal to the Paranormal for the podcast. So do keep an eye out for any updates on our Facebook page. But for now, I just want to thank everyone for joining this evening. Again, thank you to Miki for joining, and we will see you soon. But for now, take care. Have a great rest of the week with this fantastic weather, if you're having great weather, and we will catch up with you all soon. But for now, I'm going to say my goodbyes and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.